Hey, how's it going guys? It's Nate here. And Skyrim is a game with hundreds, perhaps even thousands of weapons, armor, spells, and shouts for the dragonborn to acquire and put to use however they please. However, did you know that there are actually such items in the game that the player is incapable of obtaining? You see, in Skyrim, certain objects exist that are only equipable by specific NPCs. Additionally, other items were added into the game's files, but ultimately never implemented, being cut from the game. Whatever the case, thanks to console commands, we can actually obtain such objects we were never supposed to. So that's how we're gonna spend today. Sit back and relax as we take a look at 5 more unobtainable items in The Elder Scrolls V. Part 5. Starting off, we have a bit of a simple one. The embellished robes are the unique set of clothes only worn by certain jarls, such as Markarth's Igmund. Likewise, other jarls like Bolgruf wear a similar set of attire with a different color scheme called the Noble Robes. However, the player can acquire noble robes quite easily throughout normal gameplay, as they spawn at certain locations. However, the embellished robes only spawn on specific jarls, who are very much essential, and for that reason cannot be killed, nor have their clothes stolen from them. Meaning the only way for the dragonborn to get a piece of these green bad boys is through the console. Embellished robes offer 0 damage protection, a weight of 3, and value of 100 gold, making them not really worth pursuing anyway, unless you want to look a bit funny. Next on our list is Sild's Staff. This item is a cut piece of content that was supposed to belong to Sild the Warlock, a deranged necromancer living out of Randveig's Fast, an ancient Nordic ruin. Sild has a pretty interesting story of his own. He set up a small trap in this ruin in order to lure bandits and adventurers to their death. After killing them, he enslaves their spirits and turns them into subjugated ghosts that he's building an army out of. When the player first visits Randveig's Fast, you'll be attacked by some of these reluctant spirits, who notably will be apologizing while attacking you. They don't want to be doing this. During this first visit, chances are you'll even fall for Sild's trap yourself, as you walk up to a beautiful glistening chest, only to notice that below you is indeed a trap floor, which you'll fall through, ending up in a cage. From here, Sild will briefly taunt you, before going away for a little while, giving you time to escape the cell and defeat him in battle. In combat, Sild is a simple mage. He'll cast a variety of flame spells on the player in an effort to murder you to death. Frankly, he's nothing special. However, originally, as we've discussed, he was supposed to have his own unique staff, called Sild's Staff, that would have made him considerably more interesting. When spawned into the game and equipped by the player, Sild's Staff will have an enchantment that allows a caster to summon a Frost Atronach 10 seconds for aid in combat. Which seems a bit weird for a necromancer, and really isn't all that unique. Conjure Frost Atronach is a pretty common and early spell you learn. But there's more. A deeper look into Sild's Staff in Skyrim's files reveals that it was originally supposed to have a different, unique enchantment that would conjure a subjugated ghost to fight alongside you for an unspecified amount of time. But for whatever reason, Bethesda replaced that enchantment with the Conjure Frost Atronach one, after which they never even bothered to add the staff into the game in the first place. It's possible Bethesda couldn't get the original enchantment to work properly, and then decided to replace it before realizing it would be best just to scrap the whole item, but we don't really know what happened here. Only Todd Howard could give us the whole truth on this one. For a third spot, we have a spell that quite literally has no name. There's a special alteration spell in Skyrim's files that lacks a title, but does have a description, which reads, "Talk to Marky Poo about this one." When the spell is casted, the caster will simply paralyze themselves for about 54 seconds, however there will be no green animation like there normally is. Paralysis, as we've discussed, isn't a very useful thing to give yourself unless you're falling down things. And quite frankly, this spell makes no sense. Marky Poo, which is what we're gonna call the spell, was likely simply either made by a developer for fun as a joke between staff members that was simply left in Skyrim's game data, or perhaps was a spell meant to only be casted by specific NPCs in a now cut quest or interaction. Marky Poo was probably the pet name assigned either to the creator of this spell or someone that he was teasing. No matter, I suppose we'll never know the full story behind this one. Unless we find this Marky Poo person, that is. Coming in at number 4, venture into any camp controlled by either Civil War faction, and you're bound to find a medical tent, containing a number of wounded soldiers who are incapable of entering combat and mostly just rest. Well, they all were unique, unobtainable sets of bandages, including a unique head wrap and a unique arm bandage. The player, of course, can never get their hands on these objects for themselves, as even if you should kill one of these wounded soldiers, bandages are specifically set to not appear in inventories, making them difficult. Because of this reason, you won't be able to add them into your inventory through the console. You'll have to directly force equip them. Additionally, head bandages have a weight, value, and armor rating of 0, whereas the arm bandages offer damage protection rating of nothing, 0.5 weight, and a base value of 1 septums. Furthermore, rather strangely, the arm bandages also have a first-person model, which is odd, considering there's no reason for Bethesda to have created one if they weren't going to be equipable in the first place. It's possible that at one point in time in Skyrim's development, Bethesda did expect the player to equip bandages for some reason or another, but ultimately cut that reason out of the game. So, like so much else on this list, we'll never really know the full story. And finally, last in this video, we have the Kilcreath Light Beam spell. No spaces. This spell is quite interesting. It costs 14 points of magicka per second to cast, however, as you can tell, has a very unique animation. You see, in the Kilcreath Nordic Burial Ruins, which you visit during a special Daedric quest, you see a similar animation being used by a beam of light, which the player sort of has to direct around like a puzzle in order to progress through the dungeon. Due to the way Skyrim's engine works, it seems Bethesda decided to make that effect be produced by a spell, which they left in the game and could now technically be equipped by the player thanks to console commands. What I find quite funny is that this spell actually does a little bit of shock damage to NPCs it's used against. Though not very much, but it is technically possible to kill a character using these light beams. Additionally, it's worth noting, they seem to have quite a remarkable range, and are a blast to use at nighttime, just to look at the pretty colors. But whatever you do, don't shine that stuff at airplanes. The FAA will get mad at you. But with that, we are going to wrap up. 5 more unobtainable items in The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. Which of the ones featured on this list did you find to be the most interesting, or the most excited to try out or learn more about? And what unobtainable objects and spells do you know of that I've yet to cover? Leave a comment down below. As always, like ratings are very much appreciated. Thanks for stopping by, everyone, and I hope to catch you all in my next video. Peace out, everybody.